24 years ago, Ridley Scott directed one of his most successful movies, the immortalized Gladiator, which simply was one of the most popular movies in the year 2000 and ruled the box office like no other movie. It was then safe to say that when he was to follow up the movie this year with the second Gladiator movie, he had some ground to cover. The feeling for me also after watching it is that the movie tries to climb up this endless wall, but it never reaches the top because it is indeed so hard to follow up such an iconic movie. So where did it go wrong, you must say? First and foremost, the movie does not feel as epic and grand as the first movie. There was something special about the first. It felt as you were back in the Roman Empire. The authenticity was much better, and it was simply easier to get that hook that you need to follow the story. In this one, however, the story is not as good and the hook does not hold as well, making it hard to get immersed into this particular movie. I can't point my finger on the main character, because if you compare him to Maximus in the first movie, and of course we have to do that, he is never as great. Paul Mescal, as the main character or main gladiator called Hannah or Lucius, is far from as good as Russell Crowe is in the first movie. Of course, it is hard, almost impossible, to write a character as good as Maximus, but you just don't feel the performance from Paul is comparable, because he is not as good in the acting to deliver the message that we need to feel enticed into it. In addition, all the talk about Maximus in the movie also shows how weak the main character really is, when they keep talking about Maximus and the emotional past of Lucius instead of building him into the character he is going to become now, like they did with Maximus. Another issue I can talk about in this movie is that the movie simply feels unserious. That is especially cemented by the characters played by Denzel Washington and these two tyrant brothers that are the emperors in the movie. Denzel, on his side, would have been a better fit as a gesture for the two emperors rather than this power-crazy guy recruiting gladiators. As this unserious character, he just does not fit into the movie, as there is rather also no contrast between him and these unserious childish emperors. That's the mood of this whole movie. Also, everybody in the leading positions and among the gladiators with the monkey jokes. The movie just looks bad in that respect. Not that there was not any jokes among people in the Roman Empire, but here it is just too excessive and unbalanced. I will also say 100% that the interplay and the contrast between Joaquin Phoenix and Russell Crowe from the first movie is so much better in the first one than the direct confrontation between Lucius and these tyrant brothers, which really gives you no real entertainment and just feels unnatural. Yes, Paul Mescal may show his rage, but never as good as we see from Russell Crowe. That interplay in the first movie is also something that brings much more entertainment and tension. These brothers, on the other hand, you never feel like they could have been actual real emperors, and that's a real problem. At times, the movie also can be too emotional. Yes, sometimes that was also the case during the first movie, but never as much as in this one, where you feel the need to dry out the movie with emotional talk between characters when there are no fighting. Let me tell you, also, when we have no battles during that time, you often drag the movie out with long drawn out monologues about the past, where the characters tell about their emotional baggage in the past. That's not really what you want. You want the story going forward, not an endless reflection of the past all the time. Of course, we need to talk about some positives from the movie as well amidst all the negativity. One of those is the battle sequences, which are done in an exciting way. You had a sea battle in the media during the beginning, which I am not sure is a fictional or real one. But anyway, you see the cannons firing destruction as the Romans conquer yet another place in a tense battle. When the main character loses his beloved wife, you got this creativity in the arena, aka Colosseum, with those monkeys that at least looks like baboons, which goes into a fierce attack, as well as the guy riding on a rhino, which is a fresh take from Ridley Scott. There is also a good intense duel between Lucius and Acacius, where they go head to toe in one of the best fights during the movie. The movie is in that respect brutal and barbaric, as you see heads being chopped off to create a grotesque effect. The movie also has decent tension in some moments, but I will not say that it tops up what the first movie did, because in that movie you could feel the tension in so many of the moments. Where in this movie, grab sequel, it is a bit too far between at times. That does not mean that the tension is bad, however, but you should have been able to feel it a bit more. Furthermore, what I will criticize about this movie is that it copies too much from the first movie and that you never really invent anything new. Just like in the first movie, the main character is broken down, becomes Gladiator, loses everything, and is envisioning meeting his wife in heaven. Just like in the first movie. I kinda wish that although the main character in this survived as his mother died in steel, I do wish that this could be done in a different way to not make it feel just like a cheap copy of the first movie. Because what I feel after watching this one is that we once again see a sequel that can't live up to a better first movie. Of course, it is always hard with different characters, but to me, neither Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, Denzel, or any of the actors in that respect perform as invested in this movie as the actors did during the first one, especially Phoenix and Russell Crowe. It becomes so hard to get immersed to feel that you are indeed inside the age of the Roman Empire, and that's something that simply makes it into a weaker movie. Whether Ridley should have left this one alone or made a sequel much earlier is open to interpretation on what you think yourself. But to me personally, he made, like I said, this unclimbable wall that he never came over. Then for me, this one is a 6 out of 10, and I will not say I am too impressed in yet another troubled and flawed sequel.